Welcome back to Dash Explore. Today I'm here to talk about all things baby gear and how to manage these big bulky items for travel. At home we get used to having all the things that we could need just within reach, but that's not always practical when traveling. So deciding what you're going to need and how you're possibly going to carry it all can be a really stressful point of planning a trip. So in today's video, I'm here to share all of the things that we brought with us on our 10-day trip to Europe for our 11-month-old and 3.5-year-old. I'll also be sharing how we packed it and whether or not I thought these things were useful. And if you're curious about the specific items that we brought, I will have everything linked and listed in the description below. Now, as I mentioned in my packing video, packing, baby gear, all of this stuff caused me so much stress. I lost a lot of sleep, I overthought, over-researched, overstressed about the whole situation, and although it ended up working out, there is so much to consider and every family is different. So I wanted to share our experiences in the hopes that maybe this will help you sleep a little bit more, stress a little bit less, and feel more comfortable going into your trip. Now to start off with, babies need so many things and it is so hard to decide what you really need and what you can get away with. And for the most part, things like diapers and wipes and formula, all of that stuff, you can really minimally pack for the plane or the car ride or whatever you're doing, and then purchase the amount that you'll need for your trip once you arrive in your destination. Babies are everywhere. You can find diapers almost everywhere. That it's important to make sure you have enough to get through the first day or so of your trip until you're comfortable and you need to know where you can and can't buy diapers. But there are so many other things that you need that it's not worth taking up your whole suitcase or bringing in an entire suitcase of just diapers. Now again, every family and every travel experience is different, so where you're going, diapers might not be as easy to access, but if you are going to a major city or a big suburb, there are going to be stores where you're gonna be able to find diapers and formula, so don't overstress that topic. So keep all of that in mind, but I know that the big reason that you're here today is to talk about the big stuff. The strollers, the car seats, the pack and plays, all of that stuff that your baby is gonna need and that you as a parent are gonna want for travel on this trip. So in today's video, I'm gonna break down everything that we brought with us to Europe and how we physically carried it and managed it throughout our trip. So first and foremost, we brought a stroller. And thank God we did, because between the airports, walking literally all over the cities, in Paris we walked 10 miles a day, we would not have functioned without the stroller. But something that we did do was we actually purchased a new stroller going into this trip. We have a regular size stroller. It's been great for us for the last couple of years. We have never flown with it. We've always taken a smaller umbrella stroller, but we knew with the cobblestone streets of Europe and just the actual practicality of bringing an umbrella stroller wasn't as great, and we ended up purchasing a stroller that really collapses down and fits into a bag. And although it was a little awkward and kind of heavy to have to carry the stroller, it was so nice to have that bag. It saved us so much. Also having a stroller that's more compact for the tighter stores and restaurants that are in Europe, and even in places like the Christmas markets, they were so crowded that to have something that took up a little bit less space made things a little bit easier to maneuver. And in addition to the stroller, we also found a glider board that attached to our stroller, and this was honestly something I hadn't really heard of, but was such a lifesaver. When we had Delaney sitting in the stroller, Haley was able to stand up and we could push her at the same time. So although it was a little inconvenient for us to have to push double the amount of weight, I don't know that we could have survived the trip without it. But like I said, between Paris and the Christmas markets and Disneyland, we needed the glider board and the stroller because there is no way that Haley could have walked that far, and having the stroller and the glider board was a lifesaver. Also, on the same note of the stroller that we purchased, we also found one that was able to be carried on as a checked bag. So we were able to just collapse it all down, and the glider board, everything fit in the nice bag, and we could put it up in the overhead bin and it all fit, and it was just lovely. So look into maybe a more compact, lighter weight stroller, especially if you're going to Europe or flying or plan to fly a lot. I think you'll get the mileage out of it for sure. The next baby item that we brought was a car seat, and I lost a lot of sleep on this too. We went back and forth of whether to bring it, would we need it, all the things. And overall, I am so glad we brought a car seat, but probably not for the reasons you might think. I knew that on this trip, for the most part, we were going to be taking public transportation. For each of the destinations on our trip, we were going to be taking the train to get from place to place. And as I mentioned in our previous video, we were staying with friends who had cars and extra car seats and things that we knew would take care of our children once we arrived in Germany. So we ended up buying a lighter weight car seat from Walmart, and it was definitely lighter weight than the one that we have, and I'm so glad that we had the one that wasn't as heavy, because I cannot imagine lugging our everyday car seat around. And especially because overall she wasn't in a car all that often, I felt okay using this one that wasn't quite as sturdy and intense as the one that we use on a daily basis at home, but to have it on the plane so she had a place to just be and I didn't have to hold her the whole time was just, I couldn't do it. I could not hold her on a plane. I did have to hold her in my lap for takeoff and landing. In just the couple of minutes of takeoff and landing, I was like, get her in that car seat. I can't hold her anymore. So especially at that age where they start to move around more and they know what that freedom of mobility is, having a car seat for a long international flight is such a lifesaver. We also made sure we brought a strap so that we were able to strap it to our suitcases. So when we were walking through the city or through the train stations, we didn't have to hold on to the car seat. We were able to just strap it to the arms of the suitcases and just push it through. I also underestimated how nice it would be to have the car seat on the trains. Trains don't have seat belts, so it was not belted in any capacity, but it did fit on top of the seat. We were able to sit her in it and strap her in there, and she had a safe place to sit and just kept her contained on those longer train rides. So overall, we are happy with our decision to bring a car seat. It was definitely worth it for Delaney. She used it the whole trip, and even we set it on the floor in the airport and just set her in there, so it was a safe seat when we were just waiting around for places, that we, again, would definitely bring a car seat next time. It's also important to check your car seat to make sure that it's FAA regulated for use on airplanes. It's also important to know where in your car seat the sticker that says that it's certified for aircraft use is located, so that you can show the flight attendants when you get on the flight. But I do recommend for children aged 6-ish months to 18-ish months taking a car seat with you. Obviously, again, you know your children best, and maybe your child just absolutely hates the car seat and that's not an option for you, but if you think your child can sit still and be comfortable in a car seat, I think it's an excellent option. It gives you a place to put them. You know they're going to be safe, you know they're going to be contained, and that you're not going to have to chase them around an airplane for however many hours you're flying. And if you're wondering what we do with Haley as far as car seats go, we didn't bring anything for her. We knew she didn't need anything on the plane, and that worked out fine. She sat nicely. She was able to kind of stretch out and sleep on the plane, which was really great. So I wasn't worried about the plane. When we were in Germany, we have sweet, wonderful friends that had an extra car seat that's actually the exact same as the one that we use at home. So she was able to use that when we were driving around with them. And then for the most part in Paris, we were walking everywhere, so she didn't need anything there, but we did get a ride service to and from the airport and to the train station. So for those 3 rides, we were able to request rides that had booster seats in them. So although it's not the exact same car seat system that we use at home, it was something that we felt okay with her using for the short transportation that we were taking while we were there. Plus, it was also one less thing that we needed to pack, so I was fine with that. It's also important to note that European car seat safety laws are slightly different from what we have in the United States, so it's important for you to look into those and figure out what will and won't work for your child. The next 2 baby toddler items that we brought fall into the sleep category, and that is an inflatable toddler bed and a Slumberpod blackout tent. So when booking our Airbnbs and our hotels, I ensured that there was some kind of portable crib, pack and play in every place that we went. I didn't even consider a place if it didn't say one as an option. And upon booking, I wrote and confirmed with our hosts to make sure that the pack and play would be there for us. So I knew that Delaney would be taken care of as far as beds. And then, like I've mentioned, we stayed with some friends in Germany and they had an extra pack and play, so she was taken care of there. But we also needed a place for Haley to sleep. And we had just kind of transitioned her to a big girl bed, but we didn't want to have to pay for an extra bedroom in every place or an extra bed in every place that we went to. So we opted to bring a toddler bed, and I'm glad we brought it. We definitely used it. She was comfortable sleeping on it. We made sure she slept on it before we left. It did take up a lot of room in our suitcase. So I think going forward, I'm hoping that we won't have to use it every time we go on big trips, because it was a big chunk of my suitcase that was taken up by this thing. But we used it everywhere we went, and she needed a place to sleep, so what could we do? Also, with this mattress, we ended up buying a rechargeable pump because we weren't sure with the converters and the different outlets in Europe if we would be able to use the pump that came with the mattress. So we brought this just in case, because we didn't want to have to deal with any hiccups or potential issues once we got there. Same thing with the Slumberpod. Haley is pretty sensitive to light with sleep, so we made sure to always have the Slumberpod for her. It fits over top of our inflatable bed. It gives her a blackout space, but it was also really nice in our Airbnb in Paris because we all were in one room. So that kind of gave her a little bit of privacy to kind of separate her from us a little bit. Delaney is a little bit more of a heavy sleeper, so us coming in and out didn't bother her quite as much, but to kind of have that little barrier for Haley was a big help. So we are big Slumberpod fans. We take them on every trip we go on, and they've just been something that we really take advantage of for our kids. And then the last baby toddler item that we brought was our baby carrier. And this was probably, next to the stroller, the MVP of the trip. Between getting on and off the planes, on and off the trains, especially in Disneyland Paris when we would have to leave our strollers outside of the lines, to be able to wear Delaney instead of just having to hold her the whole time, I think that saved a lot of our arm strength by being able to just strap her on. I was super conscious before we left of making sure that she was comfortable with it, because it wasn't something that I was using regularly at home. So I started going on walks with her while I was wearing it, taking her into the store wearing it, and just making sure that she was comfortable with it before committing to it for the first time on this trip. Especially after having Haley, who I know didn't ever really care for the baby carrier, I knew that it was important to make sure that Delaney was going to be okay with it before committing to carrying this thing around with us. So those are the baby specific things that we brought with us. For the most part, I don't have any regrets. The hardest thing was the fact that the bed and the Slumberpod took up so much space in our suitcase, but overall, everything else we brought, we used so much that I wouldn't change any of it for a second. And this is just a reminder that if you're curious about the specific items that we brought with us, everything is linked and listed below, so feel free to check it out down there. Thank you again for tuning into today's video. We hope that you found this video helpful and that you learned something. And I know personally, I really benefit from hearing from other people and seeing other people's experiences. So if that's the case for you, if you can hit the like button, and if you want to follow us for more family travel tips, you can hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so that you can get notified when we post new videos. You can also head over to Instagram and follow us at _Explorer. Thanks again for watching, and we hope to see you next time.